Do 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 Ebony's already in the chat room. Hello again, Ebony. Hello, Ebony. I'm telling you, Ebony, if I get rich and famous, or just famous, probably not rich, but famous off of streaming, you better believe I'm making you one of my mods. You better believe it. You already have a mod slot. How does that make you feel, Ebony? That's right, that's right. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I think that's the one best thing about, well, there is no best thing about working nights. Nights suck. I do not recommend. And therefore, however, Ebony's like, I was about ready to go to bed. I was gonna go to bed, but then all of a sudden it was like, Samurai Kit Kat's out. I gotta say hi. I mean, if you're sleepy, by all means, Ebony, go to bed. Like, I mean, or if I don't know what your shift is per se, but needless to say, um, like I was saying, night shift, do not recommend. But that just means I get to drink adult beverages in the wee morning hours. And I cannot tell you if that is a plus or a minus. So there's that. Oh boy, so not like a whole lot of learning today, right, man? We learned so much. We learned so much on the last stream. Um, Man, wowzers. Now here's a good thing about stepping away from your artwork for a long time, 24 hours, give or take, is that when you come back and look at your artwork, like we are right now, um, you know, we get a good chance to see if like we whoa whoa we're going crazy. Um, we get a chance to see if we like what we're doing. So that's always nice. It's always nice. Yeah, it's definitely we definitely need some muscles. We need to get some actual detail on this because I'm sure this figure is definitely freaking some people out. Definitely freaking the people out. Like, oh my goodness, what is this? What is this guy drawing? Um, so let's get going here. I think we completed it, right? Yeah, we got this done. This was done. So that means we get to delete layer 9. Ebony says, well, it's not freaking me out. That's all I can say. Well, good, good. I'm glad it's not freaking you out. I will take you as the 100%. Your voice is the only voice I need. So therefore, this is not freaky. This is wonderful. It is art. All right. So we got that done. We're going to drop layer 10 to 10% opacity, and then layer 11 to 20% opacity. One opacity, two opacity, three opacity. I could have just used a slider. Sliders are good. I like sliders. Do you like sliders? I like sliders. Sliders are delicious. Delicious. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so we're at 20%. Yeah. So, one of the streams, I'm sure it was actually the last stream that we mentioned, that we've. Ebony says, I mean, you literally have the image for context to the left of that figure. Yes, I do. And I was just about ready to say this, Ebony. I was just about to say stuff. um, uh, uh, so continuing forward, we do have quite a bit of reference, and we have this forward-facing head, and so we can just put that forward-facing head down cha, and that will make things a lot easier. So, as we pretty much learned with this when we first got started, right, this dude, this guy, and we lowered the opacity and we essentially drew over top of him. Well, we're going to do the same thing for our head here. So, all we need to do is figure out which one. So, this one right here is the forward-facing head. So, we're going to select that whole folder. And as said before, the folder contains all of the layers from which we messed with making the head, the forward-facing perspective head. So making sure that we're selected, we're going to go ahead and go round the head, round, round, round. There we go. And then we're going to go with the scale rotate button. It allows us to move the head. We're going to move it. We're going to move it. And then shrink this down. And look how nice that is. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice when you already have things available for you to do the things with? It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Yes. Yes. Now, I'm not going to actually do it this way, though. And the reason being is because I don't want this head to stay this size. And so basically all we need to do is duplicate the head. So we're going to cancel this, which resets everything. We're going to go, since everything's still selected, we're going to go to Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste. And it actually makes an entirely new folder. So if you look over here, we have a copy of the original. And so again, we're still selected. There's just nothing. You don't have to work this hard, right? We don't have to work hard. We're already selected. We hit the scale rotate, and see, we have two heads. Two heads is better than one head. Ah, yes, two heads better than one. Take a sip for my adult beverage. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So good. All right. So now that we got a duplicate. Now we can start messing with this thing and sizing it down, getting an approximation. I would say this is a pretty good approximation. That's, we can go maybe a little smaller. And as I said, we have a lot of neck. So as you see here, the head isn't actually lined up. Like, we're not going to be down here. We're going to be up right about there. And that looks pretty good. Looks pretty good, yes. All right. And then we'll hit OK and deselect, and that'll allow us to kind of like visualize this a little bit more. See how centered we are. Kind of what I'm looking at. I will zoom in here so that we can analyze this a little bit better. I'm just trying to align things as best as possible. We used the symmetrical tool, right? We used symmetry. So pretty much, so long as I'm around in this middle area, everything should line up the way it should. Yeah. Makes sense, right? Makes sense. Another sip. Excuse me. Oh, that hits the spot. It's so good. It's wonderful. And as with anything and everything that we decide to draw over, we decrease the opacity. Yes, opacity to the all-time low. I'm thinking, do I want it higher than 20%? Probably not. I think I can differentiate things at this point, so I think we're good. Now we're going to go up to our top layer, very tippity tip top layer, and add a new layer. And we are ready to do detailed work. Shazah! Now the only thing we haven't done, if you haven't noticed yet, we have not done a tail placement. So this would be pretty much the time. In fact, we should technically go back to our symmetrical layer. And we're going to want to turn this off though, because if we start drawing a tail over here, as you see, it's going to be drawing two tails. I did not plan to have a two-tail fox, so therefore we can't use this. All we have to do is disable the ruler. So there's actually a ruler icon over here. If you see my little mouse circling this area, we just go and click on it, and then what's check marked is show only when editing target. Just uncheck that. Just uncheck it, and you'll see a red X going through the ruler tool on the layer that has the ruler, which means that it's disabled, and so therefore we can do art as normal. So since we actually have a lot of space to fill, and now the tailbone should be located approximately here as far as the spinal column is concerned, you know, the pelvis area, this seems to be probably where the tailbone is. This is just one of those things where you kind of just had to eyeball it. And since that's where it is, let's see, we have his feet over this way, so we probably will just have his tail come around and curl over here maybe. We could just do like a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the tail is actually going away from the body. We could do something like that. The world is our oyster. Ebony says, yeah, I couldn't quite see Kitsukai as a dual tail working well. No. Of course, you know, the nine-tailed fox in Japanese legend and stuff like that. Pretty cool. But that's more of like a magic user. Like I would imagine multiple tail foxes being more of like a magic class than a warrior class. In fact, I would see foxes probably with shorter tails as warriors because they probably get cut off. So we can play with some ideas here. Sorry for the mic bump. Mic bump in the morning. So let's play with it a little bit, huh? Let's do some playtime. So if we're thinking about a foxtail that's kind of just laying on the ground, do something like that. And then the original idea that I had, which was it kind of curls back a little bit. So that would probably look something like this. We could do something like that. However, it would be much lower too, because if this is the ground, right? Let's take the line tool and use red. So the ground is, well, not quite, right there. The ground is right there. And if we got a 45-degree angle backwards this way, and we're imagining, of course, that this guy is a 3D model, right? So probably his hind quarters is going to be right about here. So that would mean, we'll continue to use red, mind you. That would mean his tail would have to droop right about there. And of course, since we're on a flat surface, right, so this would essentially be a straight line if it's just going to trail off this way. We could also do that curve. Again, we just have to make sure. Let's see. This would be more offset from here. And then we would have a cylinder that would represent the tip of the tail, right? There we go. I think something like that looks good. Ebony says Delphox, the Pokemon, is right there. Humanoid fox that wields a wand and uses magic. See, I mean, I'm with it. I'm trendy. I understand. I know what kind of classes exist. I could look at an animal and be like, oh, okay, you use X magic or you're a warrior or something like that. It's pretty easy to tell, in my opinion. Oh, so good. So good. So good. All right. That's good. I like that tail there. I think that's a good resting tail, and so we're gonna keep that. Um, all we have to do now is just translate that when we start doing our details. So, too easy, too easy. All right, set that to 20%. That's good. That's good. All right. Excuse me 1 second. Be right back. One thing about working in a warehouse, dust particles, dirt particulate, and whatever else goes to that warehouse gets in your nostrils and makes it hard to breathe. Makes it hard to breathe. All right. So ultimately, our next pencil. Let's see how we look here. Oh, we look wonderful. Look at that. That's just glorious. A little bit different blue color, but that's fine. And the reason why I like blue is because it's light. I guess that's weird to say. Red is very loud. Yellow is like a little too light, and blue just works. Blue is just a great color for sketching, rough drafts and stuff like that. So we're gonna get on in here. Let's get on in here. Yeah, what's up, Kitsukai? Let's get on here. Yeah. Gonna do some trace work. Now, granted, I should just go ahead and before we get really too far, we should just go ahead and get the symmetrical tool and just find our center. I think right about there. That looks pretty center to me. Again, how to achieve that? Obviously, I select the symmetrical ruler and then I press and held shift and then drug down the direction I wanted to go. Ebony says, glad I don't have a warehouse job if that's the case. Yeah. Well, the other problem with this warehouse, it's an open warehouse, meaning that pretty much just think of a giant barn with a bunch of bays in it and there's no doors. Like a giant lean to. And all of the elements, the pollen, the dirt, the rain, it doesn't matter. It was cold in there because there's no air conditioning, there's no heat. You're just subjected to an open warehouse. It is brutal. It is absolutely brutal. Do not recommend. And in fact, I actually put my 2 week notice in pretty much 2 weeks ago. I got 2 days left, and I will be jobless. I'll be jobless, Ebony. What do you think about that? And I don't even care. I don't even care. Ask me why I don't care. I don't care. All right. So we have the symmetry. I'd rather not imagine that now, actually. I'd rather not imagine that now. There's a lot of things that people just rather not imagine anymore. So I get it. All right. Just doing our thing. Let's see here. Let's get this just right. There we go. Fantastic. And also keep in mind, we shrunk the head, right? We shrunk this character's head. And so we are going to lose some detail. Just nature of the beast. We are going to lose some detail when we shrink the things, because obviously the original size is, well, quite large, and we went down there. So and we're using the same size. We have not changed the size of our tool. It's just because we are doing things on such a scale that, again, like I said, you're going to lose some details. Now, granted, this is the pencil tool, so we have all this like gritty sides and stuff, and it acts like a pencil. The pen tool, once we switch over to pen, will be just much more precise, much more crisp. Will look a lot better. Will look magnifico. And if you noticed, I've changed sides, because there's just sometimes there's just certain sides that I just draw better on with certain shapes and things, and so therefore I'll just swap it up every now and then. I couldn't even tell you a reason why. I just do. I just do. And boy, do I do. A little thick. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. All right. Yeah. Just have the ear tufts left from the ear action. Yeah, that's not coming up too well. let's just go ahead and take the face off. Give you a look at what we got going on. Everything's looking wonderful. Wonderful. Oh boy. So, Ebony, question for Ebony. Are you just getting your day started? Or are you ending your day? Are you also of the night shift like myself? Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, so in reality, we need to follow this. Ending the day. Ending the day. So you are also a night shifter. Okay. Or at the very least, a night owl. Woohoo! Ebony says, I wouldn't call myself a night owl, but I definitely feel more awake overnight for some reason. You just party too hard. You just party too hard. I know I'm not saying a whole lot as far as like describing what's happening and anything like that. To me, at this point, it's a little self-explanatory. But of course, I would be more than happy to answer any questions or, doing what I'm doing. Essentially, I'm not really doing a whole lot except for just getting the details that I want to keep. We're not going to do a whole lot of rippling. I don't think that's necessary. So that's fine. There we go. And of course, we do not have. Well, we don't want two belly buttons. Just want one. Let's see here. How best are we going to do this? This area here, the inner thigh groin area, is going to be interesting. Because in reality, so this is interesting, right? And should have a little bit of meat, a little bit of a lower line. This because it's tight, right? Like I said, when we're sitting, let's see here. Ebony says being almost 30, I think my partying days are, or to be honest, same. When we're adding some muscle and tissue and things like that, obviously this is where we started, but we have to add a little bit of thickness. We gotta make this boy thick. Gotta do some thick. However, at the top here, we're actually gonna hug this line, and the reason being is, like I said, going back to this, where you see where the pants are very tight here, because this muscle and this muscle are hyperextended, along with the foot muscles too. These muscles are very tight, and so the clothes are also going to react that way as well. So when I am drawing over the cylinders, I'm actually probably, as I get closer to the knee, and you can, of course, do this with yourself, right? Like you can feel your arms, you can feel your legs, and you'll be like, oh yeah, there's definitely some squish here. And then other parts of your body, there's no squish at all, or very little squish. And so those are kind of the things that I just keep in mind when I'm going over my line art, because clearly, well, like I said, this knee here, I'm going to be hugging that line very closely. Right on top of it, actually. Because it is tight. It's tight. And then the calf muscle, like I said, we're going to have a little bit of a little bulge there. As we are essentially squishing this. Now, I don't believe it actually goes that high. We can use the reference here. So if I can surmise from this, if this is his foot, right? Just trying to think of where knee. I guess it would be up that high. Yeah? Okay. Okay. I see. Oop, please excuse me. Gotta take a phone call. All right, I am back. Apologize, I just had to take a phone call. Good news. I'm getting hired. I was a little worried because I only have today and tomorrow left with my current job, and the finances would stop, and that means things would be going bye bye. But here we are. So yay, good news. All right, I'm going to be real with you, and anybody and everybody who's watching. This is a very awkward pose for me. Very awkward pose. Especially doing this in just the fur, right? In the fur. So we actually need to go up further with the calf muscle. I thought it was going to be fairly shallow, but we need to go a little further. It's something like that. And we're still going to alter this. Ebony says, "Good to hear about the job." Yes, good to hear indeed. That's a little bit of relief. I've been pretty stressed about just I don't like living in the unknown. I really don't like it. Let's see here. Things I don't like from what I'm seeing. It's interesting. I mean, again, we're not that far off, right? It's just so strange. I feel like we need to change something up, though. Especially since we are in this field of. Obviously, clothing would make a big difference. It's just weird. It just seems weird. And it might be because I have a perspective off. I'm not sure if I have a perspective that is off. I'll tell you what. This is what I'm going to do. Crazy. It's going to be crazy stuff. Ebony says it doesn't look too bad, but that's just my opinion, of course. Hey, your opinion is valid. Absolutely. Um, let's take a good look just without anything going on here. I really believe that these calf muscles are not going to be visible. And that these I'm just playing around with stuff. So I am thinking as an artist of things I would like to see different. Playing around with ideas. Oops, probably shouldn't do that. Let's see here. Let's go backwards a little bit. Let's take this ruler off because we're doing symmetrical shit, and I don't want it. I didn't want symmetrical shit. I know, we're getting crazy. We're getting crazy. All right. Let's see here. We're getting crazy. Let's go ahead and zoop that. I think I want the legs to be a little bit more closed. I don't think this open style like this. I'm not feeling this open bottom, so to speak. Ebony says, I can just imagine a school teacher who doesn't care about the curriculum and just says in a math class, today class, we're doing some symmetrical shit. You make me laugh, Ebony. Thank you. Thank you for the laugh. I appreciate that. Oh, man. But yeah, I'm just not feeling this right here, this whole area. I'm not feeling it. So we're going to change it up. We are absolutely going to change it up. So, in order to do that, we're going to kind of like go backwards a step, in which this is a good learning moment, right? This is good learning. This is something that, not that I planned on happening, but is just part of it. And as hopefully you can realize here, I'm not frustrated at all. I don't feel bad about having to redo things. And really, this is something very realistic. I think a lot of artists, especially, like when we look at things on YouTube or streamers and stuff like that, that just tend to do art, quote unquote, perfectly. I don't think that's a good representation of just how much effort actually goes into figuring out things for the sake of, like, for me, just looking good. And of course, this is my own personal opinion of how something looks good. So we have lowered the opacity. We have the two prior layers actually. Well, we're still gonna keep that tail there because I think the tail is just fine. So a lot of this actually transposes very well. It's just these legs, not so much. So we're gonna keep that, but we're gonna make things a little simpler. So keep these two layers off because, as you see, there's just a lot of noise. That's too much noise to work with. We're going to add a layer. Whoops. Add a layer. And this is what I want to play with. Like I said, I want to close the legs and have more of a proper stance, of which, of course, is going to alter the way that the hands sit on the legs and so on and so forth. To me, it's a little bit more of a modest pose and not just like so much of what's going on here. Again, that's just me. So we're going to have to redraw a few things. And man, my nose is just running. But that's what happens when you're on a dock for 6 hours in 30-degree weather. Your nose starts to run when you get back to your nice, cozy, warm house. All right, so again, the joint is going to be right about here. And then our cylinder, let's do... And of course, we have a reference, right? So our knee should be right about there. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look here. Just going to copy this side and paste it. Mirror image. And kind of line up that that joint. And then our other cylinder there we go. Ebony says, I definitely can tell you pay more attention to the skeleton's frames over anything else in this process. Absolutely. Your framework details are details, right? Like drawing that head and stuff like that. I would have figured this out just through like kind of like a pure imagination sense, but it is so important to get your framework in and done, because it's just we can use any sort of analogy like building a car, building a model. We all start from the bottom up and we use a frame of reference or a frame in general before we get to work on making a blanket or making a fursuit. I mean, you cut out the pieces of foam, right? All that foam work is framing, and so you frame it on your bodysuit or your head base, whatever the case may be, and then you start adding fur to it, right? It's the same concept here. We're adding those foam. This is essentially, just imagine these sections of this leg here. Let me swap over to red so that we like these sections of those legs. Just imagine like I'm slapping on a piece of foam there or something like that. Like I'm making a foam body or a mannequin of my character, and then once this is done, I will then worry about those details, because that none of that matters unless I am satisfied with the structure of the of the body. And this goes with any and all things art. I know some people can just draw to draw or paint to paint. Like, like Bob Ross is a good example. I mean, he would just paint a freaking tree. He didn't draw guidelines. He just painted the tree. But he had a process for it. And so that process was through understanding the structure of how to make those trees, how to make those mountains, how to make all that stuff. And so essentially, Bob Ross got to a point in his life where he could skip this step. He didn't have to worry about this anymore. He just went in and did what we're kind of doing right here, right? He skipped ahead and just did this, because he's done it so many times. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You just know what to do. I am not to that step. There are some things I can do without these guidelines, I guess imagination, right? Like I'm imagining how this how Kitsukai is sitting right now. But for the most part, though, yeah, I need these guidelines. I think this is the biggest part of the process than anything else. Ebony says, I feel like even the older guys like Monet, Van Gogh, etc., may not have made framework either. Uh, da Vinci, Da Vinci was a huge framework guy. As far as like just if we're mentioning those type of people, and he loved just showing every aspect of his process. But however, I do agree with Monet and Van Gogh. Yeah, I don't believe they actually, penciled out like Starry Night, like, okay, I'm going to have a tower here, and then I'm going to have a swirly right here. And, those individuals, and the reason why they're so famous is because they are the one percenters. They are the people who just have this mind for art, and they just see the world so differently than the normal people do. And so painting for them and doing things for them is just an entirely different process from something like me and you, because I put myself in the general public as far as artwork goes. I need structure. I need to be able to visualize things. I can't just really pop a lot of stuff out of my imagination. Although I'm pretty imaginative, but however, I need structure in my life. I need structure. All right, so let's get back to blue. That's a little too dark. There we go. That works. So we're gonna go back to this here, and we're gonna like play with the idea of moving these arms, right? Because we're gonna have to do that anyways. And we're not gonna do that. Now, one second. Now, the Mona Lisa, why she's so famous is, it's one of Leonardo's greatest works, and for a lot of reasons, is because he used an actual person to paint. And so I would actually say um, he probably painted a rough sketch like this and then just kept adding details to it. Granted, I have no idea what his process would have been. I don't think anybody knows what his process is or was. But I know that his sketch work, though, revealed that he did a lot of things just like this. So, there's that. There's that. Seeing this, we might do actually a little. Oops. Wrong layer. And we need to actually combine these layers because I made a copy, remember? So I got actually two halves going on here. So we're going to merge these together. So now we just have one. I like the foot placement. that side. And copy, edit, paste. I like that better. Ebony says, I mean, it was the 16th century, so who the heck in modern days would know exactly what his processes were? Yeah, I mean, really the only way we even know remotely of his processes is the fact that we have some of his sketch work. But as far as painting process, there's no clue, no idea. I think it'd be tremendous to know that information, but it's that's one of those things just lost to time. All right, I like this seating position much more. It's a little bit more conservative. It's not so spread eagle, in my opinion. Um, I like that there's a lot more closeness with the gaps that we see here, with the inner section of the body, and then this outer section. Just to me personally, looks a little bit more pleasing to the eye. And so what we're going to do is we're going to finish up roughly. Um, the body sketch here, and we'll get to those details again. Just kind of tracing over, that's all we're doing. Tracing over. And we'll do the symmetry tool again. We're going to have to do the symmetry tool. Ebony says, you could see it if you're willing to travel back 500 plus years. Yeah. True. So true. I'm not going to trace the head again. I don't need to. Because we can just bring it back now, y'all. Thing left is to get those hands done. Let's see here. We will refine this, of course. It's just I want to make sure that when we mask this background layer, that we can at least see where our fingers are going to be. So as you can tell, I'm not really too concerned with how rough that kind of looks, but we will fix it. Ebony says, and yes, closing the legs more does make it look better. Yes, I agree with this. Yeah, just a little too spread eagle, so to speak. A little too spread eagle. All right. Let's try this again. Merge these, so that way we got one layer. Don't necessarily need this anymore, so we'll just mask that. We'll just drop this down to 20. Let's see what we can do. New layer. Let's do it again. I forgot a detail. Ruler. find the middle of the snoot. Hold the shift key and drag. Well, by golly, I think that looks pretty center to me. If not, that's fine. It will correct itself. It's perfectly fine. Let's see here. As you can see, we're a little off center right there. Oop, didn't mean to make a second one. A little off center. Should be fine. I think we will probably pick this side to work with. Because I'm more so concerned about the feet. So if we pick this side, yeah, we'll end up crossing over and it's not going to look right. I don't think. It might. We'll see. We shall see. There we go. Back at it again. Ebony says, I know the sitting pose isn't done, but personally, I still like the way he looks stood up. Yes, yes. I mean, it's just, like I said, I've never done a pose like this before, and if you want to be I don't know what to really say. I just something I wanted to try. That's all. Something I wanted to see how it ends up. And like I said, putting actual clothing on, and I can actually make clothing droop. This pose would look much much better. And I'll give an example of that here shortly. Yeah, once we get this final ish rough draft here, and then of course I get a good look at it, make sure I like everything about it. Um, we will most certainly I'll kind of show you like what clothing will actually do for this pose. Inners. No, I did not. Also, Ebony says, I wasn't critiquing it or anything. I was just talking in general, by the way. Oh, no, by all means. And that's fine. And I enjoy critique. Critique is good. Gives insight to things. So, by all means, critique away. Ebony's like, well, now that you said that. Let's bring back that one with the tail. There we go. It's really. Oops. Okay. Ebony says, I can't really critique since I'd have no idea what I'm talking about. I mean, just your own personal insights and opinions, though, is plenty enough. It's just like someone that looks at a car and like, ew, that's an ugly color. Ew, that's so ew. Why would you drive something that color? I mean, you know, it's whatever you want. Everyone's gonna notice something that they like, don't like, that they like to see differently. I need to make this like. Okay. So, like I said, this pose would be much better with clothing, and so and of course this would be the case anyways. These are essentially the quote unquote nude drawings, or the full fur, as I'm going to coin it, full fur drawings of Kitsukai. And let's see here. Let's go ahead and drag this over a little bit. There we go. Okay. I want to swap to a different color. Let's do, yeah, red. Red is fine. Red is fine. And the reason why this pose would be so much better with clothes is, I mean, it's very simple. We can be a little bit more flashy with it. So, as the example, before we continue any further, we'll drop it down to 20 as we usually do. Drop it down to 20. Add a layer. Actually, uh, you can tell that it would look a lot better with clothes. Ebony says, we already established the other day that I swear to you, nothing in the fandom is considered nude naked. it, it is fur, and that is it. If you put clothes on, well, you know what? Good for you. Yeah, but that would yeah, I mean, but that's the example, right? Like the clothes would be hiding, like especially the hakama and gi, and all that um, would be hiding these knees and all this structure, and we can make nice flowing clothes that would look good. Maybe there would be like designs on them, maybe not. This could be like a bandaged wrap kind of look going on here. You know, stuff like that. It could have like a dragon going up in this side here, like just like I'm a mean dragon. Rawr. I'm a mean dragon. Rawr. uh, you know, we could do all sorts of things, and it'll look really good. This is what I was imagining, by the way, is Kitsukai sitting down in Saiza with the Japanese attire. Now I'm just on a doodling spree. Look what you've started. I'm on a doodling spree. I got a doodle. Doodle doodle doodle. Doodle doodle doodle. Yep, there we go. Ebony says, okay, now that the kimono, or whatever you want to call it, is on, that pose definitely works better than plain body. Absolutely, and that's the point. The point of Saiza, which is the sitting pose that Kitsukai is in. It's supposed to be a battle stance of some way, and so doing it without clothes on is awkward. This is why, um, while I have been drawing this position, I'm just like, this looks strange. But when you add clothing, it looks very proper. Looks very gentlemanly, very proper. The posture is great. Ultimately, I really like this pose. This is a nice pose. But we went down the road of full fur, so we will continue down the road of full fur. But I guess for yourself, Ebony, and anybody else who watches this, mind you, this is what I was going for, okay? This was the goal. This was the happy, yes, this was great. Like, yeah, this is great stuff. Like, good old thumbs up, man. Like, that is great. That's what we wanted to go for. Okay? Yes. Good stuffs. Now it just all goes away. All goes away. See you later. See you later, clothes. Be back another day. All right. So, let's take a good look at the 100% so far. So this is what we changed. I mean, we've done a lot of work today too. I mean, what we've been on stream for what? Let's see here. Let's see. An hour and a half. I mean, hour and a half. We've added an additional hour and a half. Of course, everything that we do is progress. So even if we regressed a little bit, we rewound the steps and changed things. We're obviously making this better as we go. Even if we go backwards, it's meant to go forwards. That being said, I am going to stop here for the day, and hopefully you'll learn a little bit more, and hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to get on again and finish this out. Usually I like my weekends. My weekends are really nice because obviously I can spend hours and hours and hours and not move about whatsoever and really focus on my artwork. But when I'm getting home from work, I'm also enjoying a adult beverage, so we have that in the mix, and I'm also very tired. So I know I worked about a 12-hour day today, so I'm tired. I'm a little woohoo. I'm a little woohoo right now. Ooh woo. And yeah, so here we are. Ebony, thank you again for coming in and giving me some company. I appreciate you as always. And again, hopefully you've seen some more of seen some more things that might inspire you, and all of you at home. Thank you again for coming in, and anybody that watches this on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And this is your host, Samurai Kit Kat. You have yourself a good day.